This is an overview of how to make a causal diagram. Causal diagrams depict the relationship between two or more variables. Each causal diagram requires three components: boxes, arrows, and positive or negative signs above each arrow. Boxes have the specific category or the value of the variable, if you're dealing with nominal or ordinal variables. Boxes could also have the name of the variable if you're looking at an ordinal or an interval ratio variable. Arrows need to point from the independent variable to the dependent variable. That is the direction of the relationship. We always use our independent variables to predict the dependent variable. The last required item, the positive or negative signs, these indicate what the relationship is between the independent variable and the dependent variable. Let's look at some examples. This is an example of a nominal independent variable and an interval ratio dependent variable. We want to know how gender affects income. This causal diagram states that compared to females, males will make more money. When we have a nominal independent variable, we talk about it as the specific category. In this case, males, and the assumption is that we're comparing males to females, will make more money. Males will make more money. So males go in our first box and income goes in our second box. The arrow points from male to income and there's a positive sign over it. Compared to females, males will make more money. If we have an interval ratio independent variable and an ordinal dependent variable, we might see something like this. In this example, age affects happiness. As individuals age, they will become happier. The first box is age, the second box is happiness. The arrow points from age towards happiness, and there's a positive sign above that arrow. As individuals age, they will become happier. If we have an interval ratio independent variable, then we always express it the same way, as increasing. So as age increases, happiness increases. The positive or negative sign above the arrow tells us what happens to the dependent variable. The independent variable is always interpreted as increasing. The dependent variable of happiness may be something like very unhappy, somewhat happy, very happy, like an ordinal measure. But because it's rank ordered, we can just put happiness in that box. If we divide it into something like unhappy and happy, then we may use those values in the box instead, because it would be more like a nominal variable. Let's look at this example. Compared to other Christian religions, Baptists achieve lower levels of education. I want you to draw a causal diagram. So hit pause on this lecture and sketch out a causal diagram. I want you to determine what goes in the boxes, what the arrow should look like, what the level of measurement is, and you may have to think about what a survey question would look like to justify your level of measurement. After you drew your causal diagram, did it look something like this? If we think about the level of measurement for the independent variable, we're looking at a nominal independent variable. We might have a survey question like, what is your religion? Baptist, Catholic, Methodist, Episcopalian, Lutheran, something like that. What is the level of measurement for the dependent variable? In this case, it could be ordinal or interval ratio. If it's ordinal, then we might have something like, what is the highest level of education you have completed? Less than high school, some college, college graduate, etc. Or if it's interval ratio, we might have a question like, how many years of education have you completed? So you can see education can be measured in two different ways, as an ordinal or as an interval ratio variable. If your causal diagram did not look like mine, think about why or why not. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. Let's look at another example. Let's say that we expect that multiple factors affect income: gender, race, education, and having an internship. If I tell you that my hypothesis is the following: compared to females, males make more money. Non-whites make less money than whites. Having more education will increase one's income. Obtaining an internship will have a positive effect on income. Then what would your causal diagram look like? So take a second to draw a causal diagram and indicate the level of measurement for each variable. Hit pause on this lecture while you do that, and then go back and see if your causal diagram matches mine. You can see that we have 4 independent variables: male, non-white, education, and internship are all listed. We have 4 arrows, and there's a positive or negative sign above each arrow. All 4 arrows point to our dependent variable of income. Compared to females, males make more money. That's indicated with the first box, male, and that arrow with the positive sign. Non-whites make less money than whites. The non-white box has an arrow pointing to income with a negative sign above it. We have an education box. Having more education will increase one's income. There's a positive sign on the arrow between education and income. And the last box, internship, is our last independent variable. Obtaining an internship will have a positive effect on income. So we have a positive sign above the arrow that points from internship to income.